SharkyBreath.
He plays video games.
Hello, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. Okay, well, I haven't thought of anything else that I'd rather be doing with my day than read the books in my inventory, so I'm kind of inclined to just continue doing that. There was one thing that I did say I should take care of before I continued reading books in my inventory, and then I just went ahead and did not do that, and that would be dealing with my thought cabinet. So I had a quick look at what we've got in here, and it occurs to me, if I'm going to keep Cop of the Apocalypse around, which for the moment I am, because Inland Empire and Shivers are both very interesting to me, I just keep not investing points in them because, I don't know, I'm bad at making decisions. But if I'm going to keep Cop of the Apocalypse around, I can probably afford to get rid of Hobo Cop, because Hobo Cop, the main thing I'm getting out of it these days is that it raises that learning cap for Shivers to 6, which is what Cop of the Apocalypse does anyway. And I don't think there's any more terror on the map, or if there is, it's probably on that island that I can't get to yet. And if that's the case, well, to be honest with you, I'm generating more money through Wompty Dumpty Dom Center than I really need to worry about anything anymore. So that wasn't the sentence, but the point is I can probably get rid of Hobocop. I like Hobocop. I like it in principle. I like the idea of it, and I like having it in my brain, but it doesn't make sense at this point, and I need to figure out something to clear out so I can continue working on some other stuff here, because Wasteland of Reality is, we're coming up on it. We still got 5.5 hours left to go. And, I mean, Date of Birth Generator's coming up, but I'm guessing I'm not going to get a whole lot out of that one, to be honest with you. So I should probably start another thought processing if I'm going to sit here and read a bunch of books, you know? So I'm thinking we get rid of Hobocop. I don't have that many skill points left, so I'm only going to get one. I'm going to clear out one thought and replace it with something else just for now. The tricky thing is, what do I want to start looking into? I don't know, but I suspect, right, that Fairweather T500 may give me some physical instrument boost, which would be very helpful for pursuing basically anything I'm trying to do in the game right now. I'm hoping that one of these will have something like that, but I have no guarantees that any of them actually will. That said, I'm thinking I might do the Precarious World here, because I am curious what it has to say about this once you've, completely internalized it. And the main thing here is that all red checks fail, and I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing that if I'm standing here and reading books for the next few hours, I'm probably not going to have to make a lot of red checks, right? Because I'm just reading books. That's my guess anyway. I don't honestly know what I'm talking about, though. So, I guess it's time to bid farewell to Hobocop. Thank you, Hobocop. Your face is horrifying, but I appreciated you while you were around. I just don't have space for you anymore. I'm afraid my brain's only so big. Be well out there, Hobocop. Okay. It's all right. It's all right. All right, let's get working on the Precarious World, and then we got some books to read. Bam. Done. Okay. All right. Let's see what we've got here in my inventory that I haven't gotten to yet. So we played the Suzerainty. I can't invite Kim to actually play again, can I? I'm guessing not. I'm not going to do it even if we could, but let me just make sure it's not even an option. Oh, excuse me.
The Suzerainty box is heavy
it's not.
and slightly...
It's no longer an option, and that only makes sense. Kim did specifically mention we don't have time to ever play it again, so no surprises. Okay, so we got Helm Dollarman Book 1. We've got Helm Dollarman Book, who knows which one, with the Devil Woman. We've got Dick Mullen. That's a big one. That's a long book. Look at that. And we got 16 Days of Coldest April. I think these are... Yeah. These are the ones that I haven't read yet, right? So far as I know, those are the things I haven't done in here. So let's just start with Helm Dollarman, the man from Helmdall. It seems like a good place to start, at the beginning of the series. Okay, here we go.
The cover of this tattered paperback features the man from Helmdall standing atop a pile of bloody corpses. His two Zweihanders are crossed over his massive chest in a dramatic X, their blades dripping with gore.
Hell yeah. Seems over the top. I mean, yes, it does. Genuinely it does, but here's the thing. If you're not wanting over the top, why are you reading Helm Dollarman? Hell yeah.
Behind him rise the harsh, snow-capped peaks of his native Northlands. In bold red letters, the title, Helm Dollarman, the man from Helmdall, unfurls like a banner. In the foreground, a nearly nude woman lies spread in supplication. her privates strategically covered by her flowing black hair.
I'll have to take your word for it. From where I'm standing, it looks like a pile of geometric shapes, but that's okay. It makes things simpler for me as a person uploading content onto YouTube. Look at the back cover, read the first couple of pages, put the book away. Well, what's on the back cover?
The back blurb reads, "His latest adventure serves as the perfect introduction to the savage Heimdall saga. Meet man from Heimdall, his faithful blood brother Tyribald, the noble Lord Hrothgar, and some of their most fearsome foes yet, for the Northlands, for Heimdall."
Interestingly, this is not the first book in the series, but it does serve as a good introduction. Okay, makes sense. Also, I can't help but notice that the woman who doesn't get clothing on the front cover doesn't actually get a name or introduction on the back cover, so I guess that is probably indicative of the mindset of this book series concerning women. I guess we'll see how that goes. Continue.
Below, in smaller font, you see the parenthetical, adapted from Man from Eondal and the Necromancer's Treasure. Man from Eondal, Lord of Hrothgar, and Man from Eondal, the Curse of Nakthera.
I'm glad you figured out how to pronounce that word, because I couldn't have told you. So basically, maybe this was originally released as a bunch of serials, and then they have kind of lumped them together into a larger novel to make it simpler to approach or something? Continue.
A brazen attempt to bilk fans for more money by splicing together old stories under a new title.
Yeah, or that. I guess that does make sense. The publishers must have a dim view of their readership. Where there's a demand, there's always the supply. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going with this one.
Their main concern is the continuation of the franchise, not making literary history.
Yeah, presumably true. All right, well, let's read the first couple of pages and see how this goes.
The story opens in media res. The man from Heimdall and his band of northern reavers are in the bowels of an ancient temple, surrounded by an army of gibbering wights, led by the deathless necromancer. One by one, the brave Northmen fall to the relentless crush of undead, only to join their number as reanimated corpses.
Sure, okay, continue.
By nightfall, only the man from Heimdall and his blood brother, noble Tyribald, are left standing against the dead horde. "It is an honor to die by your side, brother," Tyribald cries, as his battle axe beheads one of their reanimated comrades.
Wow, they're in trouble now. I'm too old for this. I have a suspicion that if at any point I get too resistant to the way this book is going, it's probably going to kick me out, but maybe I shouldn't be doing too much metagaming here. I'm not sure. Of course, the thing with the books is also that I can probably go back in at any time and choose the other option if something goes south. So, let's see what happens if I say I'm too old for this.
9, Tyribald. The man from Heimdall bellows over the army of flesh and bone.
In German?
Have courage for the Northlands. For Heimdall. He leaps to the mezzanine to face the black-eyed figure, and like a mad ice bear, whirling twin Zweihanders, Sturm and Drang, he plows through the ranks of the deathless, surrounding the necromancer.
Right, but couldn't you have done this before all your allies fell and became whites or something? Continue.
It is physically impossible for a human being to effectively dual-wield Zweihander swords in any kind of real-life combat situation.
I mean, presumably that is true. That's why they're called Zweihanders, but continue.
And with deadly finesse, his twin blades scissor the necromancer's head from its body. The undead legions collapse like ragdolls as the dark magic leaves them, and the two Northmen stand alone in their cursed temple, where the bodies of their lost brothers litter the floors.
No, like genuinely, you could have done that any time. You just decided not to, huh? Or were you just so angry that it suddenly worked? I don't know. And I don't know. It's a book. They can do what they want. Skip ahead.
A few chapters later, the man from Heimdall and Tyribald are in a completely different setting, high above an arid desert, riding a pair of griffins that always seem to appear at narratively convenient moments.
I mean, that does seem to be how this series is working so far. Continue.
This book makes a mockery of the very idea of good plotting, though something tells you coherence was never the point.
I presume you're right. Conceptualization. Do continue, though.
The Northmen find themselves in the court of a powerful southern king, Lord Hrothgar. The old king beseeches the man from Heimdall to rid his kingdom of the Nakthera, a subterranean clan of blind wizards who traded their souls for demonic powers.
It's a clan of blind wizards? They're all blind and all wizards and all have demonic powers and no souls. But they're a clan, so they reproduce, or do they reproduce with the blind wizard magic? I don't know. Continue.
The man from Hjelmdal extracts a high price from the desperate king. He asks land for the homeless desert pygmies living exiled in the kingdom's borderlands. Hrothgar offers the hand of his eldest daughter instead, but the son of winter does not budge.
The son of winter. He's trying to get land for the homeless desert pygmies. Okay. Hold on. Why is the man from Hjelmdal, doing any of this? All aboard for slaughter and glory. Keep reading. That's enough for a man from Hjelmdal for me. Why is he doing any of this?
What do you mean?
Why is he doing all of this? Like, the same question I just asked?
Because the flame of justice burns bright within his chest. Because, above all, he's driven to bring honor to the name of his beloved Hjelmdal. Because his noble Cutlan blood lusts for glory and conquest. It cannot be denied.
Right, but he's specifically setting aside, he wants a high reward for accepting this quest, but he wants it on the behalf of somebody else. I feel like what I'm asking is, why is he doing that? Or is it just because justice? Is there something in a different book that I'm missing? Is that all?
What do you mean? Is that all?
Is there anything else to his character? Yes, that.
He is the man from Hjelmdal, forged in the fury of battle. Death was his sire, and blood his dam. He had but 14 winters when he left his frigid homelands in Cutla to seek glory and honor. That is his character.
So is that a no? Continue.
He doesn't even have a real name. What is inside this man? Or is muscle and bone all he is?
Okay, but does he have any internal tension? Never mind, just get to the good part. Let's continue to question this. Let's do a literature analysis on this this pulp fiction tale, something like that.
He is the wildest man alive. The only mortal strong enough to wield the twin Zweihanders, Sturm and Drang, whose names mean storm and...
Isn't Drang noise, I think? Storm and noise? I can't remember. I know Sturm and Drang. Sturm and Drang is a phrase. It's a Anyway, yes, I get that. He's strong and has big swords, but why should I care about his character? I'm technically art cop, right? I should probably care about these things.
What are you? A book critic?
Actually, yes, I'm a goddamn art cop. That's right. That's the one. No, you're right. Let's give this a chance. Keep reading. I don't need sass from a discount paper book. Close the book. Art cop.
Enough. You're ruining the pacing of the story.
Eh.
Now, where did you leave off? Ah, yes.
Okay. It's forcing my hand. Continue.
What pacing?
Fair point conceptualization.
You skip past a section detailing an elaborate banquet with many toasts, as well as the long and perilous journey from Hrothgar's keep to the ancient forest of Yesdor, where our heroes infiltrate the Nachtherre's dire hall.
Dire hall. It's one word. Dire hall. Okay, continue.
In the center of the great hall stands a blood altar on which a pair of Nachtherre are disemboweling a shrieking peasant, an unholy rite that empowers the Nachtherre forbidden magic.
Nachtherre. Is that actually something night error? Oh, is it just nightmen? Does that just mean nightmen? Is that just German for nightmen? I think that might be. Anyway, continue.
As the vile ceremony ends, the sound of steel unsheathing draws the Nachtherre's attention to a pair of cloaked figures standing in the doorway.
Yes, continue.
Swiftly, the visitors toss off their cloaks and unsheathe glimmering northern steel. It's the man from Hjelmdal and his valiant blood brother, Tyribald.
Showing up just after the nick of time, as seems to be their wont. Well, yeah, who else would it be? Well, I did not see that coming. I'm going with this one. Apparently, we're going to be harsh on this book. Who else would it be?
In an instant, the Nachtherre summon a horde of gibbering orcanoids who rush our heroes.
Orcanoids?
The hall fills with the clang of blades and the screams of the dying as the floor goes slick with steaming orcanoid viscera.
Yeah, sure. That seems about in character. Continue.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Continue.
When the din of battle settles, only the man from Heimdall and Terrible remain standing. Exhausted and dripping with the entrails of their foes, the two Northmen confront the foul Nectera. The man from Heimdall's soda-like blue eyes fill with indescribable fury.
Soda-like.
For the Northlands, he cries, rushing headlong into a desperate melee.
I mean, wasn't he just in a desperate melee? Also, doesn't you just say that only the man from Heimdall and Tyribald remain standing? So, but then the Noctera is still... Listen, it's fine. You gotta be kidding me, or cut him up, Heimdaller, man! I apparently am going the critical route, which is fine. I mean, I can see the virtue of just sort of immersing yourself in this and being like, ha, mindless violence, but like, I'm doing a hard cup. I'm doing hard cup right now, so you gotta be kidding me.
What?
This is almost exactly the same as the first scene. Even the word gibbering is used twice. It's true. It's true.
In the first scene, the man from Heimdall fought a powerful necromancer and his army of the dead.
Yeah.
Now, he's confronting a pair of Nectera and their horde of Orkanoid thralls.
Uh-huh.
The two couldn't be further apart.
You're right. It's totally different. Okay, fine. What happens next? Nah, that's just too silly for my taste. Close the book. Now, we're reading it. We're reading it, however unwillingly. What's happened next?
An excellent question. One easily answered by purchasing the next thrilling chapter in the Heimdallaman saga, Heimdallaman at the Gates of Tomorrow. The last page of this one merely reads, "To be continued."
Cliffhanger. Yeah, sure. Okay, continue.
Considering the sheer amount of different Heimdallaman books out there, it's very unlikely you're ever gonna find the sequel.
That does seem quite likely, Logic. Thank you. Continue.
The man from Heimdall stares at you on the cover, his face fixed in grim resolve.
He sure does. And hey, he's got that naked woman lying below him who didn't even show up in the story, unless I skipped the chapter that included her. So neat. Put the book away, I guess. I got 5 experience for reading that business. Heck yeah. Well, technically, I got more like 35 if you want to include the conceptualization bonuses. Yeah, I think it was 35. Not bad. I think that's actually... I made out better than I did reading the communist pamphlet or playing Suzerainty, I think. But maybe you would have got more experience if you'd beaten Kim at Suzerainty. But I didn't feel like I had earned it, you know? Okay. Well, if we're reading Heimdall books, I guess we should read the other Heimdall book, huh? Demonic Horned Vixen, apparently. Well, no, just her shadow. Just her shadow has the demonic horns, because it's very symbolic, you see. Maybe there'll actually be a woman in this one. Maybe. All right, let's read it.
The edges of the pages are worn and smudged. A lot of people have read about the Devil Woman's altercations with the Heimdall man.
Yeah, one does get that impression, and I went and ruined it by buying the book. Let's go ahead and look at the back cover.
The jacket copy proclaims, "Man from Heimdall returns in his most exciting adventure yet. After crashing into a strange jungle, cannibalistic natives abduct his only surviving comrade, noble Tyribald.
Right.
Before Man from Heimdall can mount a rescue."
Men from Heimdall doesn't seem very good about keeping anybody alive aside from noble Tyribald, huh? Continue.
He is ambushed by a tribe of female warriors and taken to the ancient citadel of Cloud City, where a mysterious and wicked queen rules supreme. Will Man from Heimdall be able to escape his dire situation and find his missing friend?
Presumably yes, or else there would be changes in continuity that I doubt they would be willing to invite in the following books in this particular series. Anyway, time to flip through the book.
You open the book to a random page. Man from Heimdall, wielding his 2 Zweihanders, is carving through a sea of savages, his visage fixed in grim determination.
That seems about in character. Continue.
His arms whirling like windmills are soaked with the blood of his enemies. Mangled corpses litter the battlefield.
Whirling like windmills. Well, that's a very effective tactic for using a giant two-handed sword. Well, 2 giant two-handed swords. But I guess if you are strong enough to wield them in one hand each and spin them like windmills, I guess it'd be pretty hard to stop that, huh? Continue.
Good God, this is some retrograde stuff. When was this shit written?
That's a good question, Rhetoric. Continue.
You flip to the copyright page. This book was written in 38.
Oh shit, gritty and heroic. Let's give this a chance. Ugh, vulgar. Close this book. Let's give it a chance.
Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as he brings glory and honor to his long-lost Heimdalla tribe. from the village of Heimdall. The ivory giant roars like an ice bear, and the winds of Gatla howl out his name.
Okay. Give me more, or okay, got it. No need to read further. So, obviously this is an exit book option, but it doesn't say the thing that it normally says, where it says in parentheses, put the book away, which suggests to me that if I choose this, the book's going to get sassy with me, and I kind of want it to, so I'm going to try that, but if it kicks me out, we're going to just skip right back in here, okay? Hopefully. Anyway. No reading, Devin.
The edges of the pages.
Okay.
You open his arm. Good God, you flip to the copy.
Giving it a
Berserker
chance.
Rage.
Give me more.
Man from Heimdall rides on a gilded griffin, his golden mane billowing in the breeze. Both Zweihanders sheathed on his back. He is off to war. Will he conquer his enemies? Will he conquer himself?
Oh, it's so stereotypical. Onward!
The steel muscles of man from Heimdall gleam in the humid jungle air. Yet the man does not sweat. In meditation, his soul drifts in the frigid northlands he calls home.
And my only two options at this point are, holy shit, this is so me, really get into the book, or, I'm done, close the book, which suggests to me that there's probably a thought in here, huh? I just sort of have to debase myself into thinking that I am similar to the Helmdallerman. There are worse thoughts I've had, so I guess let's go ahead with it.
A passage reads, the man from Heimdall looks up, his eyes blue as the mountain lakes of his homeland. He rarely speaks, but now his voice booms in the darkened throne room. Do not try to sap my masculine essence, wicked temptress. Son of Heimdall will never succumb to your seductive wiles.
This is gonna go poorly for my brain, isn't it? Continue.
Thine spells are no match for purity and strength of will.
Thine?
Brothers of Heimdall, stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible, yet mine is forged in gore and strife. Queen Lydiana just laughs, a sultry and salacious sound, then says,
this is definitely going to be a well-developed character right here, Queen Lydiana. Hang on. Brothers of Heimdall stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible. Yet mine is forged in gore and strife. I get it. He's saying that his flesh is forged in gore and strife. How do you... I guess everybody's flesh is forged of gore, though, isn't it? Maybe? Anyway, continue.
I have grand plans for you, man from Heimdall. She gestures her diabolical hand toward an array of potions and unguents. First, you shall please me. Then lead my armies against the vicious cannibals. Not a muscle moves in the face of the man from Heimdall. Yet inside, there is turmoil. This goes against all he holds sacrosanct.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Continue.
This is beyond primitive.
It's extremely primitive, it's true. Wow, this is epic. I kept hoping it would get better, but the writing is terrible and repetitive. I've had enough. I'm going to go with this one.
What do you even know about literature? Have you ever read a book in your life?
Of course I have. Maybe, I don't know. Excuse me, I know a thing or two about critical analysis and art. That one.
Write a thesis. Man from Heimdall is done with you.
Really? The book can kick me out, huh? The book can kick me out, huh? Is there any point in going back in there, though? Like, this seems pretty awful. All right, give me a second to see if there's anything worth pursuing at the end there. Hang on.
You open the book to a random. His arms. Good God, this is something. You flip to the copyright. Berserker Rage burn. Man from Heimdall. The steel muscles of man. A passage reads.
Wait.
The man from Heimdall.
Time is passing as I'm reading it again.
His eyes.
What?
Spells are. I have grand. This is beyond primitive.
Wait a second. Time is passing. Despite me having already read this, reading it again, time is passing more. Oh no. I probably should have left this alone. Do we... Okay. So I can't afford to redo this particular set of choices, or else I'm going to be wasting way too much time. It's already 5:30. Shoot. Okay. So do we continue being sassy art cop, or do we go along with it to see where it goes, at risk of changing my personality in ways that I will not be happy with, I wonder. There were other options beyond this choice. As long as I don't claim that I, know things about literature, it might be okay. I'm going to try it.
What do you even know about
Maybe,
literature?
I don't know.
Man from Yeomdan
Fine.
has no time for
Fine.
illiterates.
Fine, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe there was stuff in there I don't know. Either way, it kicked me out twice. I'm going to have to live with it for now. Okay. All right, back in to thoughts. I want to go to my thought cabinet. Hey, take me to my thought cabinet.
Date of birth generator.
Do I remember when I was born? We'll find out.
You were born in the year 07, in the last year of the commune of Revachol, right before it fell, in the old military hospital on the ground floor, where people usually came to die during a snowstorm. The revolution had about 1 year left to go, and the fires were still burning bright. There were explosions in the blizzard. This was 44 years ago. You are 44 years old.
I thought I was way
The
older than
bloating might never leave your face, but beneath it, you still have some years. You still have some hope.
that. Could be worse, I guess. I look older than I am, but I'm 44. Huh. Bonuses. Learning cap for logic raised to 4, -1 difficulty to all physique passives. But passives. It's passives. Okay. The things are a little bit easier to do physically now that I know that I'm not an old man. Okay. The logic cap doesn't make any difference to me because I already have a intelligence score of 5 or whatever it is, right? Except, hang on, let me see. Yeah, intellect 5, therefore logic was already, yeah, logic's already at a cap of 6. So that doesn't do a whole lot for me. -1 to physique passives. I mean, that's not terrible, but also passives are not usually something I'm going to care too much about, right? It's not what I was looking for, that's for certain. I'm just not sure if it's worthwhile to immediately get rid of it either. 40 minutes left on the precarious world. 2 hours left on Wasteland of Reality. That will help when I stop having that -2 to physical instrument all the time. But, okay. All right. Do I leave the thought cabinet alone for now? Is there something else that I can get rid of? I was thinking about getting rid of rigorous self-critique. That's actually true. The one thing here is the pain threshold. I don't know if I'm going to need it. My pain threshold is at what? 3? Yeah. I've got a bonus from a thought. One of my thoughts is giving me a +1 to pain threshold, but like, I could add another 6 to that, but I'm probably not going to. If I was going to spend points in physique, it would probably go to shivers, right? So the main thing with rigorous self-critique is that I'm a masochist, and therefore failing red checks gives me healing. But here's the thing, my health and morale are both at pretty decent levels these days, and I can afford drugs to fix any deficit that I have in that particular region. So, like, I'm not that concerned about it, you know? So I could do away with rigorous self-critique. Was there anything else that's clearly something that I can get rid of? I like the bow collector. I'm going to hang on to Cop of the Apocalypse for now. Guillaume de Le Million. Oh, that's where the pain threshold comes from. All psyche caps learning caps raised by 1. That's kind of nice considering how miserable I am at psyche. Anything else? Eventually, I think I should get rid of the actual art degree. Either that or I should just commit to keeping it around and go fail the check with the rich guy, because who cares about him anyway? You know? Like, why should I care? +2 perception, I think, is probably good. I don't know how much good perception is going to do me after I've explored everywhere in the world, so maybe I should think about getting rid of it at that point, but for right now, I think it's good. So why don't we ditch rigorous self-critique, which is probably something I should have done before all this reading, but I didn't, and so that's fine. It's fine. Just do it. It's fine. That does get rid of the skill point I just earned, but it does mean that I get to see another thought when it gets completely thought out, you know? So we're not doing advanced race theory unless I have really no other choice, because regular law official? Inland Empire, has it come up much during these books? I guess it has spoken up once in a while, but also my Inland Empire is already fairly miserable, so there's probably not that much to be done there. Homosexual Underground would take me 8 hours to research. No research bonus or penalty to speak of, but it does seem like I maybe should investigate whether that is something that is part of myself, you know? Ostensibly, I was married to a woman at one point, but, like, I do seem to have thoughts on this matter, so maybe I should look into it. And Coldamama Dakwa is another 7-hour one. Fairweather... See, the reason I keep avoiding getting Fairweather T500 is I suspect it's one of those ones which, once I have it in my brain cabinet, my thought cabinet, I'm going to want to keep it there, because I'm guessing it will be useful. I mean, it is 3.5 hours of Les Savoir Faire. This might be the time, I suppose, but... No. We're gonna do this one. Since apparently I'm spending time on things like, you know, figuring out when I was born and trying to quit alcohol and drugs and whatnot, let's find out if I know anything about my sexual orientation, huh? It's 8 hours. I won't finish it today, but that's fine. That's fine. Just go for it. Let's work on it. Okay, great. Now then, what else shall we read? Since apparently Devil Woman ain't having none of my sass, and I guess that's fine. So we got Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity, and we got 16 Days of Coldest April. Why don't we start with Dick Mullen, since we're just reading terrible books right now? Let's go ahead and have a look at this one.
In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch.
It didn't look fragile, but okay, understood. Examine that cover.
The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped in a passionate embrace.
Hey, I have a dark overcoat, and I theoretically might have a pistol at one point. Continue.
The tagline reads, Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen. That seems to sum up the premise nicely.
I believe you're right. Continue.
Are you really reading that, detective?
He doesn't mind that I read Helmdollerman and the Devil Woman, but this bothers him, huh? I really need to know who this Dick Mullen guy is. I'm looking for advice on being a real detective. I'm just skimming it. I mean, probably I am just skimming it because, you know, art cop and all that. I'm just skimming it. Don't worry
That's
about
probably for the best. Those books aren't exactly famed for their tight plotting.
I would imagine you're right about that, Kim. Continue.
It's much more about the dark and deadly atmosphere.
Atmosphere, apparently. Thanks for that, drama. Very helpful. Let's go ahead and start reading.
The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night.
Seems pretty stereotypical starting out. Continue.
Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindium coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights.
So he asks no questions, does it, and then, okay, great. Look, I can't judge. Keep reading. I don't need to read this. I'm already living it. Close the book. I'm going to start with, look, I can't judge.
2 days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description.
Gasp! Who could have seen this coming? Continue.
Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence.
The cops release their prime murder suspect so he can find the real killer. Are you shitting me? No way Mullen did it. Keep reading. I'm going to go ahead and question this aloud.
What's the matter, detective?
The lieutenant turns to you with a start. I don't know who's writing this shit, but I get the feeling they aren't experts on homicide investigations. We may as well commiserate about this. I'm sure Kim understands that this is a bad book.
The lieutenant shrugs, resigned to the idea that his profession will rarely, if ever, be accurately represented in art and literature.
Okay, fine, so no commiseration then. Okay, so Mullen didn't do it. Keep reading.
Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana de Nerva.
I mean, okay, sure. Fair enough. This is the first... No, that's not true. I was going to say it was the first woman that's shown up in these books, but no, there was the evil queen. Right. Nice, a dame! Now it's getting interesting. Keep reading. I feel like I've read this before. Close the book. So my choices are not good, but let's go ahead and... This is not keep reading, huh? So I have more thoughts on this particular matter, huh? But it's not a... All right.
And not just any dame. She's truly one in a million, a knockout whose mind is as dangerous as her curves. But she's got a secret.
Man who doesn't. Sounds like my kind of woman. Man who doesn't.
Secrets are the currency of human relations.
Ooh, is this... Who? It's one of my psyche things chiming in. What's up?
Your secrets are unknown, even unto you. So does that make you a rich man or a beggar?
A fair question, Volition, but I do not have an answer for you. Now it's getting interesting. Keep reading.
Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover, and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation.
Right.
As soon as Mullin begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel.
Because it's always that easy. Continue.
Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead.
Sure. Torvald. That's not... What was... It was Tyrbold. Tyrbold was the name of the brother in Helmdallerman, but Torvald... Okay, sure. It's not related. Whatever, I don't know. It just seems similar in my brain. Tell me about the corrupt police captain.
Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp.
Sure.
But he's also dirty and increasingly paranoid that someone's going to expose his role in the drug ring.
Sure. Continue.
He would certainly have the motive and the means, but the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was able to conceal it long enough to commit the murder?
I mean, chances are good that it's not going to be any of these three suspects, right? It's going to be a fourth one who just shows up in the 11th hour, because this isn't going to be a well-written book. But anyway, I want to hear about the politician's son.
A typical privileged twat. In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's administration.
Okay, sure, continue.
The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height. And while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that looks suspiciously like his own.
Ooh, what was that about, an art collector? Also, time is passing real fast with this book. Oof.
Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually hit someone, let alone plug them 3 times in the chest the way Spillane did.
Continue.
That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Deanna Deneuve. Could it be that this is all over a sordid love triangle?
Could it be? Okay, let's get on with this.
One evening, Deanna Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms.
Because that's a great idea. Continue.
Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips.
Why did I heal up from that? Electrochemistry? Do I have a thought that does that, or was that just like, I'm feeling good about this for some reason? Nice, get it, Mullen. I'm not sure I'm happy with this, but maybe the story will turn it around. I am not sure I'm happy with this, but maybe that it won't.
As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Deanna Deneuve turns to Mullen and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you."
Oh, this is going to go great. Continue.
I love you.
No.
The name of the true killer.
No.
Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly.
Yeah, that. Fuck. Can't trust a dame, shake your head. I don't really like where this is going. Close the book. All right, well, let's start with fuck.
When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood.
Double fuck.
Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body. if they haven't been tipped off already.
Right. Continue.
The heat is on. If Dick Mullen can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away for life.
Sure. Continue.
Can you solve the case before the cops close in?
Wait, I've got some questions first. I've figured it out. I've got some questions first.
What is it, detective?
Why does everyone close to Dick Mullen wind up dead? Why did Dick Mullen become a detective in the first place? Why bother solving crimes when the world is so evil? I don't have any more questions. Why did it end up dead?
It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to do it. That's why Dick Mullen never lets anyone get too close.
Continue.
What's the matter? Afraid you've been hacking up your friends' bodies in the night?
What? No? Continue?
You are the murderer after all.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Inland Empire. You're very helpful. Why did Dick Mullen become a detective in the first place?
There was never a time when he wasn't a detective. He was born a detective.
Was I not born to be a detective? But why is he like that? Was I not?
For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book for what it is. A collection of brittle, cheaply printed pages held together by glue made from the hooves of horses.
I mean, it's true. Continue.
From nowhere, you hear the screech of sneakers on a waxed floor, and you feel the burn of rope against your hands. Are these figments of some other life?
I'm genuinely not sure, physical instrument. Nice job making that easy check with a bare 9. Continue.
You won't find the answers you're looking for here. In other words,
I assume you're right. Why bother solving crimes when the world is so evil?
is it really so evil, detective?
Okay, maybe not. There are parts worth saving. Yep, it's pretty fucking evil. Good. Evil. No, good. Evil. It makes no difference. These are the end times we're living in. Thank you, Apocalypse Cop. I'm going to go with the maybe not. There are parts worth saving.
Like what?
Friends and family. The pleasure of contemplating art. The sweet taste of a good cigarette, which I still need to find. Friends and family?
Do you even have those?
I got Kim. I might. I just need to find them. I did, but I lost them. I got Kim.
Just make sure you don't lose him. You'll not find another like him.
I genuinely thought you were going to criticize me for considering Kim to be my friend. I mean, he is my friend, but it would seem in character for this book. Continue.
But then, what does this book know? It's just a poorly made piece of pulp garbage made to be consumed and discarded.
You're probably right. I don't have any more questions. I've figured it all out.
So, who did it, detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve?
Communism killed them. Love did them in. The dirty police captain, the junkie art collector, the politician's I can say words. The politician's twat son, Dick Mullen. You know what? I don't even care. Close the book. That would be quite a power move. I wonder if there is a right answer to this. These are both relating to, the case. Communism and love being the reasons that the corpse gave for its own death. But, these three being the prime candidates means it's, like I say, I suspect it's going to be not any of them, in which case there probably isn't a correct choice here. I could say, Dick Mullen, but I think that's the stupid guy answer. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being the stupid guy, it's just I'm not supposed to be the stupid guy, Why don't we... None of these are good answers, though. I feel like they want you to think it's going to be the politician's twat son because he's got that that coat that looks like yours, But maybe you should be stupid. I could just be stupid. Let's be stupid.
Have you been paying attention at all? It wasn't Mullen.
Aw.
It was an imposter. Now go on. Find out who really did it.
Sure, finish the book.
You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You're turning pages so fast, you don't even notice the ancient spine coming unglued.
Uh-oh. This is not a good time to not have any reactions time things equipped. Continue.
You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your fingers aren't quick enough. They're gone.
Impossible 20! Continue, so I don't get to find out the ending?
Dozens of pages scatter across the floor. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost. It's possible that you could gather and reassemble the pages, but it would take way too long.
Stupid old horse glue. Gah! Now I'll never know. Horse glue.
Ah, yes. The problem with mass-market paperbacks. They are not made to last.
I guess you're right, Kim. Continue.
Perhaps this is a sign that you should get back to solving your own murder, huh, detective?
Yeah, probably right. Continue.
Don't forget, it could have been the delirium tremens.
Could it have electrochemistry? Continue.
In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity.
Put the book away. None of this is going to be satisfying, huh? Well, I guess that's fine. Okay, so it's what time is it now? I've got 2 thoughts that are done, right? It's nearly 8 o'clock. Okay.
The precarious world.
Let's see this here.
How not to lose. It is impossible not to. The world is balanced on the edge of a knife. It's a game of frayed nerves. You're pushed on by numbers and punitive measures, pain, rejection, and unpaid bills. You can either play, or you can crawl under a boat and waste away, turn into salt, or a flock of seagulls. Your enemies would love that. Or you can fight. The only way to load the dice is to keep on fighting.
Fair, I guess. That's not a bad thought to have in one's head at this point, I think. Although it would be interesting to turn into a flock of seagulls. But let's see what the bonuses are. Critical success and failure thresholds lowered by 1. Do you mean to say I can't critically fail anymore? And that critical success happens on a 11 and a 12. Whoa, that's powerful. Except...
Wasteland of reality.
Oh, hey, we're done with this one.
Congrats, you're sober. It will take a while for your body to remember how to metabolize anything that isn't sugar from alcohol. So you're going to be pretty ravenous soon. Eat plenty. You can expect your coordination and balance to improve in a couple of weeks. In 2 months, you might start sleeping like a normal person. Full recovery will take years, though. It'll be depressing, and it'll be boring. Don't expect any further rewards or hand claps. This is how normal people are all the time.
Yeah, okay. And the bonuses look like a whole bunch of negatives, but let's have a look at them. -1 to physical instrument. I still have insomnia. -1 to Inland Empire because I'm sober. -1 to suggestion because I'm boring. +1 psyche, return of the self. No positive effects from alcohol. +1 psyche. Accept? Let me have a look at that. So I straight up have a 2 in psyche now. Look at that. So I don't get a bonus Inland Empire, and I don't get a bonus suggestion because I am sober and boring. But I get a bonus to everything else in Psyche. Oh, dang. Plus it raises the cap of all these by an additional 1. That's... But it also gives me a -2 to physical instrument. But it's only a -1 rather than a -2, which is what I had while I was internalizing it. It's just a question of if I can get away with even having a -1 from my thoughts, given that I need physical instrument for so much here. Either way, those are both really quite powerful thoughts. Shoot. Wow. The funny thing about the precarious world is that it's entirely meaningless if you're doing a save scum approach. Which I'm specifically not, but... It's just critical success. The way it's worded, it's hard to tell if it means critical success and critical failure. It might just mean critical success and failure, like as a separate thing, failure. So like just all checks are lowered by 1? It's possible. I don't have a way to check that right now. Okay, well we got 2 hours left to kill before I have the meeting with the pigs lined up. I could read another book in that time. And I have 1 more book that I didn't get to. Plus I have, 10 minutes of episode left to go. So I guess I could do that. The problem is, How bad is it if I'm late to near the old fish market at 2200 and get your service west and put them back? Just walk past the fishing village until you see the boardwalk. Okay, but like, is it bad if I'm late? Can I actually miss it? Maybe I should go to the boardwalk right now and read my last book there? Maybe that's the thing that I should do. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Man, I was up there all freaking day. Just hanging out on the balcony, wasting time. I'm so sorry, Kim. But you know how I am, apparently. Okay. Let's see here. Map. Let's get over to the church. Also, let's put on my, yeah, no encyclopedia checks for the books and whatnot. But just in case whatever this is starts as soon as the pig shows up, whether I'm ready for it or not, let's have my perception on. Be nice and suspicious whenever that particular time comes. Let me work my way up to the boardwalk. Oh, I was also informed in the comments that apparently if I want anything to come of the prank call situation, I have to do it a whole bunch. So I may consider doing that in the future, but we'll get there when we get there. It's going to be very dark. I don't know if I should... Yeah, why don't we put the tool away and get the flashlight out, just in case, you know? Yeah, it makes it jerk all over the place while I'm trying to read things on the screen, but it's fine. It's fine, I'll allow it. Okay. This is the boardwalk. This is probably where I'm meeting the pigs in about an hour, so let's just stand over here and get out my last book. 16 Days of Coldest April. Okay. It looks like a pretty short book, so maybe this will be faster than... Like, the Dick Mullen book took me like 4 hours to read, right? No, it was more like 2 hours. But either way, maybe this will be a little faster. But it does say that it's an excruciating story, so maybe not. Interact.
In your hands, you hold 16 Days of Coldest April by Yekaterina Dahl. The cover image shows a row of concrete apartments above which span a black and white rainbow.
Feels heavy. Does it? It looked very light, but okay.
Indeed, the book is unusually heavy in your hands, as though the cover were lined with lead.
Really? Continue?
They would do that in Grad.
Would they? How long is this book anyway?
You flip through the book. The pages are thinner than you realized, and the type quite small and tightly set.
Oof.
It's nearly 600 pages long.
That's a really long book. Continue.
Real art is dense and difficult. If it didn't feel like you had to wrestle a suicidal bear to get through it, you weren't really reading.
Thanks, conceptualization. Let's look at the back cover.
The back cover is dominated by a black and white photograph of the author.
Okay, so what does she look like?
She can't be much older than her mid-30s in this photograph. And yet, from this cover, the eyes of a sad old woman stare back at you.
So she seems to have had a pretty bad life then. Gotcha. The pigs are supposed to be here in 4 minutes. 4 minutes is not very much. And if this is a 600-page book, then it's going to take hours to read. So maybe now is not the time. But how do I kill 4 minutes even? 4 minutes? Do I have anything I can do to just, like, chill for a second? Can I talk to Kim about anything? Kim, you want to talk about anything? Hey, Kim.
Yes?
I want to talk about you.
What about me?
Tell me a secret about yourself.
No.
Oh. How do you narrow a single eyebrow? Ask again. I can ask again?
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrow.
I see. Continue.
The eyebrow is exercising psionic control over you.
That is impressive. Continue.
It's like you're locked down.
What's happening to me? Give up. There's nothing you can do. What is happening to me?
Something the matter, detective?
Continue.
What's going on? It's like you're a puppet in his hands.
I failed a legendary authority check. Give up. There's nothing you can do. Okay. So if I put a whole bunch of time and effort into getting my authority up by 9 points, I might be able to force Kim into giving me a secret. Possibly. There's nothing I can do, though.
The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you seem to regain control of yourself.
Well, that's good anyway. Okay, so that took 2 minutes. We've talked about his Revolutionary Air Brigade jacket before. We've talked about all these things before, but I suppose I can choose other options in here? Let's talk about talking with yourself.
What do you mean?
When you're thinking, do you ever have conversations with, like, your brain?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
That's condescending. Continue.
The lieutenant is a police officer of the old school. His concerns are material and extrinsic.
That does seem to be the case, but I just barely made that check, so that must be something that I can now do now that my psyche's at 2. Look at that. Continue.
But this isn't an old school case.
I get it. You're one of those old school detectives, not respectfully. So how do you, tap the side of your head? So I didn't have this option before. Let's go ahead and throw it out there.
So what? That makes you the new school? God spare us.
I didn't say that. I was just... Continue.
For real detective work, nothing beats a good notebook by your side.
I reckon that's probably true. Continue.
The lieutenant produces his familiar mnemotechnique A6 and idly thumbs through a few pages.
Sure. Continue.
That's where his conversations with himself take place.
I believe we've had this particular breakthrough before, Empathy, but you're not wrong. Continue.
We all have our different mediums. His is written.
Right, so we reached the same conclusion despite not having that particular way to approach it. Continue.
You're super lucid, yet psychedelic. You don't need office supplies to connect to your nervous system. You're special.
I'm not sure that I am, but thanks anyway, electrochemistry. That's all for now.
Let's change the subject.
Let's go talk to the pigs, why don't we? Except we can't right now. We got to talk to the pigs next time because it's time for this episode to end. I didn't read all my books, but I read 3 books. Well, no, I read, okay, hang on. I read about, let's see, probably about 2/3 of the Helmdollerman. And I read, well, let's be generous and say I read half of Helmdollerman and the Devil Woman. And then I read 4/5 of the Dick Mullen book, right? So that's, hang on, 2/3 and 1/2 and 4/5. You'd have to have a common denominator for all 3 of those, which is going to be what, 30? Oh, this is more complicated than my brain can handle right now, I don't think. In any case, it's roughly just over 2 books. I read roughly just over 2 books maybe today. Yeah, so that's not terrible. And I do have one more to read, but it's 600 pages long, so we'll see when we get time for that. But in any case, I got to prepare for talking to the pigs next time. So thank you for watching. I don't know what I expected out of this experience, but I guess I got what I paid for, and that's all I can say. So, next time, the pigs. We'll see you then.